this has nothing really to do with me. It has to do with them and what they are versus what they want to say their victims are. I said a while ago, I think the people they targeted were people who were helpful, would talk up, stand up for other people, and wouldn't tolerate this. So to keep their new victims from knowing, they kind of silenced the old victims. And that's what I really think we have in common. Once everyone is starting to talk about this and understand that these people are allowing not just surveillance, but computerized surveillance, where your information can go into a computer and they can find ways to keep bothering you about things that weren't crimes, weren't issues. Why would we listen to them? What in my mind would say, yeah, these are the people I'm going to take advice from? Yet they keep inserting themselves into my life, and they said something along the lines about this or whatever, and they're not realizing the more they insert themselves into my life, the more obvious it is it's happening. So they were really upset about this fan. So here's the difference between the fan, that's without the fan, and this is with the fan. You can still hear them talking. And what they were saying is when they're talking and they're talking, they have to talk louder than the fan. The fan was interrupting this fake system of hearing voices. Now, a big deal about this is that they decided in order to take credit for my work, they're going to come up with a way of telling everybody that when I'm sleeping, they do something that causes my head to see images. And then throughout the day, they use that same system. So I see images throughout the day. And then they can say, well, I got the images from them. Does that sound like people you really want to talk to you? Doesn't that sound like a crime? There's a thumbnail that I put up on this video that this is a crime. So why suddenly would anyone listen to the suggestions of a criminal organization, let alone take their false accusations against me seriously? I haven't molested anyone. The very same people who said they were doing this to me are now trying to accuse me of molesting someone. Why would they be in the process of doing this to me and I'm molesting somebody? Does that make any sense? No, but that's who they are. I got to keep reminding you the types of people doing this, and why I will always keep this live stream on. I will always tape them. I will always supply some sort of proof. They're like, why do you have to prove it? Because this is who they are. They will twist things after the fact. When they were saying how horrible it was, how horrible I was to people at Lacoste, I have proof I wasn't. You guys saw the reference letter. You guys have seen other proof from them that I wasn't. But it's if I don't present that publicly, then suddenly you'll take the word of criminals who target victims so that we can then take their place in a crime. That's what they admitted. They said, and they said this, they keep saying it. I was supposed to be stupid enough to say, oh no, I'm involved with them. The crime was committed. I was part of it. I couldn't have been part of it. Just by the fact that they're accusing me of it, I wasn't a part of it. But the scarier part is that if I didn't have all the proof, not just up online, but human beings who could say, she's not this person. They accuse me of being violent. Like I have a tendency of being violent. Again, you guys know they accused me of being a child molester. They said Hunger Games is a movie where I'm watching kids. You guys know I love reality TV and I love the Housewives. And they're like, you were watching kids. Anybody who knows the Housewives know that it's not about children. It's not a children's show. So they would have come up with all these lies, put it out there publicly. They knew it was public. They knew it was out loud. And they were able to do this for so long that, yes, I do blame people in the government who allowed this to happen for this long. They said they wanted to test if I'm a good person, quote unquote. This is not a test of a good person. This is a way of railroading people. They admitted it into crime, recruiting people into stalking and surveilling other people, because that's what I've been talking about for a long time. It's very hard sometimes with this system to know, is that person involved in the gang stalking or is that just an innocent person? So you would just be out there taking videos of everyone all the time, but you don't have time to do that because you're living your own life. But the other bigger issue is that if you have criminals pointing out people who they're saying committed a crime, that they're now saying, oh, we were always surveilling her, then they're liars. So they shouldn't just be in prison. They should be charged with perjury, which is why when they tried to say this was all in my head, I said, go ahead, say it, because you're going to perjure yourselves in court. So then they changed it to no. We needed your help. Not after you called me a child molester, and not after when I pushed you to this point where you have to prove your allegations. It's in my head. You never said it. You did say it. It's recorded. And the fact that there's somebody who's running the system who can play back what's been said on what day and what time means they recorded this. And they are just as bigger criminals as these folks for allowing this to happen. These people would never have stopped perjuring themselves because this is a surveillance system. This is a system where they said they were working with the FBI. They would not have stopped perjuring themselves if they hadn't been caught. The reason they don't bring this to court officially is because it's a lie. They want me to take their names off my channel. I will not. They will have to sue me so we can bring this to court again. This is the only way to work with a criminal organization run by criminals so disgusting, so criminal that they would accuse someone who's been helpful to them of not just unhelping them, not helping them, but molesting children. Are you serious? So let me let you listen to them. I'm keeping the fan on so they'll have to shout over it. But you guys already understand what's going on here. There's a criminal organization trying to trap victims. If you don't go along with them, they're going to stalk you, surveil you, and then try to find a crime to accuse you of. So you get so upset when they keep saying, how come you look also upset? Do you know how many years they've been accusing me of being a child molester when there's no kids around? I don't watch anything with kids. I don't want kids in my life. And suddenly, oh, I'm a child molester? To me, that was such a psychological game because after I was helping, with the kids being separated from their parents, that was their way of getting in my head. So, you must like kids then. Hell no. One thing has to do with what's the right thing to do as a human being, and the other thing is the disgusting, filthiest thing you could ever do to a human being. And this is what I'm saying. We will fight this all day, every day. They keep coming up with excuses. Oh, we're doing this to calm you down. No, you're doing it because you want to set me up to be a criminal. This is about recruitment into criminal activities. Again, for those of you who don't know the list of crimes they wanted me to commit, accepting people's packages for them. They wanted me to take the package. Suddenly, I started getting packages outside my door and deliver it to someone else. They wanted me to accept the packages. And they would say, open the package. Absolutely not. They started stealing mail from me. They started to try to get me into prostitution. They said I attract rich white men so they could make more money. Absolutely not. So when they're teasing me at the same time that I haven't been sleeping with anyone, they prove that they're liars. I wasn't going to become a prostitute. They wanted me to do fencing, and I couldn't really quite figure out what fencing is. But at one point, they accused another accusation that when I was buying stuff on eBay, I only bought on eBay. So it wasn't like I was buying something it could have been some big stolen property. It's through eBay. They were saying that they were going to substitute more expensive items for the items I bought on eBay. Now, if you take a picture of an item and you get an item, that's the same item. No one was substituting anything else. At one point, they kept coming up with this bigger lie. I showed you guys a while back the lie that they said what I got on eBay was a blue diamond. It was a natural sapphire that was a used ring. And it wasn't expensive. It wasn't great quality. So they just said, Shamika, didn't they just lead you to say that? No, I was in the process of saying it. This is another way of getting credit. So for me to be this awful person, why would you want credit? It's because that's what they were about. This was about, I have an idea for something like the crafting, then they can say they gave me the idea. I have the idea to do something, then they can say they gave me the idea. It's about stealing credit, stealing attention, stealing time. It's sucking time. Let me just go through the other items they accused me of getting they just said higher value item than what I paid for. If you guys are from eBay and you guys know about eBay, you get good things if you can find them, but no one is going to just give you high value stuff for what purpose? So then they said, well, maybe it was because when these are the people doing it, they broke in, they would switch the items. Would that make sense? Why wouldn't they just do it with their own people? Why would they plan on trying to break in, find the item that I got? It would not make sense. It's a crazy group of people, criminals, not people at this point, criminals, because they keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, and they know it's a crime. It's a crazy group of criminals that would not understand that it wouldn't make sense to do that. So a stranger on eBay would not send me a diamond with the hope that someone they know may at some point break in to steal it. They just said, oh no, the other way would be if I resell it. Then I would be reselling a blue diamond. Don't they understand that that doesn't make sense? That's a crazy person's way of thinking. If I receive a blue diamond, you think I wouldn't know a blue diamond? Then I'm going to have to take pictures of it, list it on eBay, and just some random person will find this blue diamond. That wouldn't make sense. This is what I'm telling you. So that's the fencing allegedly crime that they thought I was going to be involved in. The other crime was that they said that they're gonna have the cops come and search my apartment, and they said they were gonna plant drugs in my apartment and guns in my apartment. Does that sound like people who were trying to help me, saying that they're gonna break into my apartment and plant stuff into it? These people were never trying to help me. These are not good people. So when they said they thought we were going to all get together and form a community, someone said they never would have gotten involved in it, which is why when you're talking to people and you tell them, please don't get involved in this, and they find out over the years why they shouldn't, and they still get involved, that's the issue. That's the bigger issue. If you warn people, this is a criminal group trying to set people up for mental illness, medical illness, prison, and do not get involved in it because they've committed these crimes all these years, and they don't stop committing these crimes. So the threat was that they're going to plant guns, plant drugs. They were saying that you guys already know that they're using some sort of surveillance intelligence system. So it's not just watching people, but it's telling you in advance what people are going to do, which is partly why they wanted to come up with this way of predicting what I'm going to do. And they said, according to my personality, now they've said this out loud, I don't have the personality to them to tell what's happening in my life. But these are the very same people who have falsely accused me of telling them all sorts of stories about things that happened to my life. So they're not even making sense to one another, let alone to me. This should never happen to anyone. The more I discuss it and talk about it, they keep saying, why did anyone get involved in this? That should be how everyone feels about this situation. It was not supposed to be real. It was supposed to be in my head. And I got to keep explaining that. And I think hopefully I'll use that as a title. All the lies and accusations. Oh, I already used the other one for the title. Oh, no, I used that for the thumbnail, which is part of what I'm saying. If you look at what Congress wanted to pass, I think that was in 2002, to make it illegal to use any of this psychotronic, electromagnetic, lasers, sonic, any of this stuff, it's all illegal. So for them to be using it, they're already committing a crime. But the bigger crime is that this was never supposed to be a bunch of crazy people in the street yelling these accusations at me. It was supposed to be in my head. So the moment they messed that part up, and made it seem like it was real was the moment that it fell apart. They keep saying, well, how did this whole thing fall apart? It was never supposed to be real. It was never supposed to be anyone actually coming forward. I did this years ago in videos. The liars aren't coming forward. The stalkers aren't coming forward. They were never supposed to come forward. It was never supposed to be real. It was always supposed to make me think I'm hearing voices. I'm mentally ill. There are no kids, clearly. And that's what I keep telling everyone. I don't hang out with kids. Don't watch kids show. If the housewives happen to have kids, or my other little reality shows that are adult shows happen to have kids on, it's like, okay. But it's really about the adults. And that was the whole point of this. The whole point of this was they went in a direction with this that went so nuts that it's like, why are we doing this? Just like the person said, they wish they never got involved. Exactly. And I try to warn people with these videos all the time. Other people show you guys these videos. This was just a way of getting people to do the wrong thing, to suck people into stalking, harassing, surveilling, using illegal systems, technology on other people. So I'm going to let you guys listen so you can hear what's going on. I'm just going to mute this. So I'm going to end this, but I'll do more videos later. Thank you for listening.